Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, Steep Tea With Elsayed. I hope that you enjoyed the previous episodes, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to enjoy today's one, because we have a very interesting guest today. The guest today, I met her a few years back. We served together in some committees. And honestly, I was so impressed with her passion and her enthusiasm and her beliefs that the innovative solutions can help in solving many of our problems, such as environmental problems, healthcare problems, sustainability, and many others. Our guest today is Dr. Hadis Zarrin. Dr. Zarrin is an associate professor at Chemical Engineering Department at Toronto Metropolitan University. She's leading a very innovative research about smart materials. Her group is doing an amazing job with that. And stay tuned with us in this episode to learn more and more about the smart materials. But what was interesting about Hadis when I spoke with her for the first time, she has that passion about training young generation, or let's say the young engineers, which we call them the future engineers. She had that passion about training those engineers and provide them with the skills required for having a bright future. And she was always believing on the continuous education. So she's giving a message to all our young professionals. Continuous education is very important for sustainability and brighter future. How are you doing, Hadis?
I'm very well. Thank you, Elsayed, for inviting me.
Thank you so much for accepting the invitation and being a guest on our podcast. It's really a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. So, did you get your Steep tea?
Not really. I think it's almost ready.
Oh, not yet.
If you have a hot tea, yeah, no, I have the tea bag, but not the hot water.
Okay, yeah. So we have a very special tea.
Oh,
yeah.
What type of tea is that?
It has a very unique recipe. So you can taste it and tell us if we did a good job with that or not, or we need to use the smart material to improve the quality.
So unique recipe by Elsayed.
Yes. And sometimes, you know, the unique recipes comes from the positive energy you do with the things. Sometimes you have the same thing, but how we are dealing with that, how we are handling it, it gives a different way. So this is...
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Okay. Are you ready to go back 10, 20 years in your life and remember some of those?
Sure.
Stuff here and there.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So let's start to, who is Hadis?
Well, Hadis is a proud mom of 2 brilliant kids and a passionate material and electrochemical engineer who loves to explore the world of nano-sized creatures and structures. to tackle lots of global challenges. So I really love to this nano world, I call it like nano world adventure. I always love to invite young generations and new engineers to join me, and I get inspired by them. They have so sharp and open minds. I always learn from them, and I also try to train and help them to do new explorations and create novel structures to tackle many of huge challenges we have now, like the clean energy, environment, water, food, healthcare. So this is, if I want to imagine Hadis, I think that's who am I these days.
Okay, that's it. This is the current Hadis.
The current Hadis.
How was Hadis during the high school? How did you go from the high school to university? How did you make that decision for choosing your discipline?
Well, the old Hadis from high school. So I'm originally coming from Iran. So I did my high school, undergraduate studies, and master's studies back in Iran. So I well, I can tell I've never had any passion for the field I'm pursuing now. Those days, I had different aspirations. Like I remember the old Hadis loved to become an architect.
Wow, that's
I loved
interesting.
arts, doing paintings, and I always remember before bedtime, I used to dream and imagine like different types of home structures, how I should design it, and where should I locate everything. And this was really my passion, but due to in Iran, like we have a national exam to entering university, and it's very competitive. And for pursuing architecture, it was really hard to enter to this field, so I couldn't make it. But I remember again the old Hadis, and even though, which is I'm following the same passion, I was also very curious about how the humankind creations like industrialization, these emerging technologies impacting our planet. So which stems from their ingredients, the compartments they are made of, and how they are fabricated. So this kind of led me to choose chemical engineering, or I would love to call it process engineering. Believe me, it's different from chemistry. It's not chemistry. It's about designing processes. It has lots of engineering optimization, economical analysis that help us to understand how to generate a product, which can be used for different technologies. That could be energy, pharmaceutical, for food, water treatment, and so on. So I don't know if I answered your question, but that was kind of
awesome.
That was kind of the journey.
I would say an inspiring journey, because this is another thing, and we all having those things. If you don't go to the discipline that you are looking for, you still have the opportunity to excel and achieve high goals in another discipline if you put more effort and you work on it.
That's right.
I'm wondering, are you still painting and you're having those?
Unfortunately not, because I am like, as a mom, I have a 2 full-time job, being a faculty member and being a mom at home. So, but this is one of the things that I always think about. I have to restart doing some art for crafts or paintings. That's one of my future projects. Still is on my to-do list, but unfortunately not the time to do it. Anyhow,
Maybe your sabbatical.
I'm going to start from September.
So this is going to be your first?
Yes, I'm very excited. I already created my to-do list for my sabbatical, and then this is one of them.
Awesome.
Doing some artwork. Really, it's good for my spirits, and it helps me a lot. But anyhow, I think this journey kind of, although I wanted to become an architect, I became a materials architect.
Okay, so it's a different way of
different way to reward it.
If we go back after you got your bachelor from Iran, and we all know that is a lot of graduate students internationally are looking to get an opportunity or a scholarship outside the region. So do you remember that area? How did you make that decision? Okay, I'm going to move to do my graduate study in Canada or somewhere else. Where did you do your graduate study, your master, by the way? In Iran or Riyadh?
Yeah, my master's in Iran. I did my undergraduate studies at Iran University of Science and Technology. Azad University of Science and Technology, and my master's study at Iran University of, I'm trying to translate science and industry or technology again.
Okay.
Yeah, everything science and technology. But my mom she retired. She was a professor too. So maybe that was another inspiring factor for me. And because I love the way, the vibrancy and the dynamics of her job. And especially the part of interactions with always young generations. And I feel like maintaining that interaction keeps us young. And it's rejuvenating for me. It always inspires me. I learn a lot from them, and I love that. And
So I would say your mom inspired you to be a professor?
Well, my parents have been always strong motivators and encouraging me to pursue higher educations, and especially my dad. So they were super supportive. So that definitely, those elements were helping me to basically shape my future, make my future goals. And then I started to pursue PhD, but I really wanted to have that experience in another country, in another learning environment, learning new things. So I got an admission from University of Waterloo. I applied for many universities.
Exactly.
So,
can you go and tell us?
Oh my God, yeah. And when you receive the very first rejection, you think the world is upside down. You're not capable of doing anything, and you lose all of your hope. But believe me, it's all about persistence. And so I didn't lose my hope, although it was a little bit disappointing in the beginning. But then I got used to those rejections. Finally, I got the opportunity to get an admission from University of Waterloo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that is an amazing moment, that when you receive that is that.
That's the best. Yeah, that was one of the most joyful moments for me when I saw the email and the admission. Yeah, it was really encouraging.
So you always sense, maybe due to the family, always in your mind to be a professor in the future.
Yes, because again, my dad was the huge motivator and encouraging person to asking me to pursue an academic job, and also my mom, because she was in academia, and so definitely. But one of the things aside from the academic environment was the passion for research, which was created after I started my PhD.
Okay.
So all the time, even before starting my PhD, I didn't have the mindset of becoming a professor. I was thinking, I'm becoming a research scientist working in a lab or a national institute. But the reason I ended up to be in academia, it's having the opportunity again to lots of resources to pursue research. Again, number one, interaction with young generations and brilliant minds to join me always to this journey, and explore the different unique properties of these materials around us. Then we break down their sizes to nanoscale. So everything will change. It would be a different world. And how I can leverage those properties to tackle our global challenges again and towards sustainable development. So all of these were cumulatively the factors that led me to pursue this job. And to be honest, another reason was I was lucky to get a teaching opportunity when I was doing my postdoc again at Waterloo. Yeah, and that was really showed me that, oh my God, I love this. I love teaching. I love these interactions, and maybe I should give it a try.
Do you remember the first class that you entered to teach? How was your heart rate?
Oh my goodness. I tell you a funny story.
Yes.
The very first lecture, oh my God, my parents always make a fun of me. I told them their place was close to University of Waterloo and my place was farther. And I told them, you know what? You have a guest room in your building. I'm going to rent that guest room. I cannot sleep with you guys. You are making so much noise and you're making me anxious. That night I should sleep in a separate room, maybe in that guest room, to just relax and practice. And I had the class was supposed to have, it had about 53 or 55 students. And there were nanoengineering students. And if you know, nanoengineering field at Waterloo is famous for having all the smart minds taking that field because they are exposed to many fields of engineering. So their minds are open. They know different perspectives from different engineering fields. Anyhow, that made me more anxious.
nervous.
So, but I remember we had guests. My aunt came from Iran that night before, so that was one of the reasons I wanted to go to the guest room. And I told her nobody talks to me, and but the moment you start and you see the faces, I think everything goes away. Like you think, oh, they're not like monsters. They're coming here to seek for help and even helping you.
Yeah.
And it was really a very how can I say, joyful, stressful, and also at the same time very wonderful learning opportunity for me.
But this is, I'm just like amazed by how you prepare for your first class in teaching. So how was your preparation for your defense then?
Oh my God. Yeah, no, defense actually, well, I was lucky that I had the opportunity to publish sufficient amount of paper. So it was paper-based. So I already got past that stress from the candidacy exam, but defense was not that stressful. The most stressful moments for me were teaching that class for the first time and for my interview here at TMU.
Let me tell you a story about teaching, because I have the same thing when I entered the first class in Canada, and this was a tutorial, not even a lecturer. And was first time ever to teach in Canada. I taught a lot in Egypt, but teaching in Canadian students was scary, and I was really scared. I know the material, I know, but I was a little bit nervous. So I went to my instructor, Dr. Mitari. I would like to say thank you so much for Dr. She's very supportive. She has a lot of influence on my career. So I went to her and said, I know the material, but I'm stressful. I don't know what to do. She said, Sayed, I will come with you to the class.
Oh,
So they need to worry
you.
about that. I will be there. I will handle anything if something happens. I will just be there.
Oh, wow.
Supporting you. And if something happens, don't worry, just relax. That was like a moment that I cannot forget it for her. And then once I started 10 minutes, she left. She said, okay, you are doing good. I don't need to be here. Yeah? So
What are you talking about?
so I can imagine, the stress.
That's another challenge. Like English is my second language too. And I was all the time anxious. If I lose my words, even now I'm thinking, I take a moment and think to find the right word. And if I lose that during the class, if someone makes fun of me or change their faces, that I will lose all of my confidence. But to be honest, no, I mean, the culture, maybe the multinational culture here in Canada is really helpful. Like everyone is understanding about such flaws, maybe.
Yeah, and for all of those non-native language speaking, for those class students know if you are really putting effort and you want to help them.
Exactly.
And they take over the stuff. It's not a big problem at all. They understand and they take it easy. So this is something. But during your graduate study, during your master and PhD, there are a lot of other people who impacted your career and your life, aside from your parents, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If you do remember a professor, an instructor who really have impacted.
Yes, of course. During my undergraduate studies, I can name Professor Manager Nick Azar. He was, unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago at not very old age, but anyhow, I think he had cancer. But he was a really, he had a huge impact on me to continue my education, because he was a very passionate instructor, and he always had the habit to ignite this curiosity among students and keep it alive and become passionate about even learning, and also lead you to the self-learning, and which was really a great habit to establish for students or any young learner. So God bless him, and I think and I really miss him. During my graduate studies, basically my PhD supervisor. Although we had some challenges, I mean, everyone has. It's natural. It's a 4-year interaction, and you have challenges with your husband, kids, and parents. So let's be your supervisor. Anyhow, but I'm really thankful to him, because when I started my PhD, I was drastically illiterate about electrochemistry, electrochemical engineering, and material science. I came from a modeling and more mathematical calculation side of the process engineering or chemical engineering, and I had never the experience working in a laboratory. So that was a huge shock to me. And but his perspective to lead you to become a self-learner and taking risks, being ambitious. I always loved the ambition he had for the research and the growth was really had huge impact on me. Yeah, I'm really thankful for him.
Okay, so we echo your nice words to supervisor, but if we just maybe select a couple of things that is you learned from your supervisors and you kept them with you and you are still practicing them with your students. Now you are a team leader, so what you learned from your supervisor, what are the things that you kept and keep practicing with your students?
The good maybe habits or skills, like I always create. I'm not limiting my students to a certain specific topic of the project that is of my interest. So I always come up with. I always tell them when they start with me, this is the focus of my laboratory and group. We focus on materials. And nanocomposite, nanostructures. We want to dig into their properties. And these are the potential opportunities for different applications or potential topics. So I let them to dig into these different topics, give them the freedom to explore. And when they start even their projects for defining the sub-projects or different strategies, again, I leave it to them, because I think they should learn how to brainstorm, how to come up. This is a number one skill set of any researcher.
Okay.
How to brainstorm, how to see the challenge, and how to come up with a strategy or potential strategies or methodologies to come up with. So I learned that from Zhang Wei Chen, and I think I'm doing the same thing with my students. Yeah.
Are you still connected with?
Rarely. I think last time was last year, unfortunately, and he's back to China, and he's not affiliated with Waterloo anymore, I guess. And but I definitely, maybe I should send him an email and see how he's doing.
Maybe during your sabbatical, you might visit China. And
that would be wonderful.
Just have a good meal with it. Yeah. So during our graduate studies, we always have some challenges and some good time. And if you remember during your graduate studies, either the master or PhD, if you remember one moment where there was a big challenge and it's like hard time, and how did you overcome that? Do you remember any of those situations? I know there are many.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say, doing research is all about failures. I always tell to my students, setbacks and challenges, and that's the beauty of it, because I think these I see them as opportunities to grow and learn more. So maybe the most shocking moment for me, as I told you, was the very beginning of my PhD, because I thought, I learned all the fundamentals during my bachelor and master. I know everything. I'm prepared to do the breakthroughs in the science and just do the research. Then I was super shocked that I know nothing. And I have to again learn, read and read and read, learn and learn. And maybe having always a mindset of seeing the half full side of the glass, and always I always seek for help. I think seeking for mentorship and help is a very important skill set we have to develop, because some people they're resistant to that. But I think, and how to leverage the resources are available to you. I think I try to use those resources and basically seeking for help to kind of tackle that challenge. I remember I was all by myself every night. I went home and started crying that this is not, no, literally I was crying, and I have my best friend, I'm still in touch with her. She knows all the stories, and I was so disappointed, and this is not for me. I cannot do research, but everything changed after.
Is it because of failure on the?
Yeah, like I couldn't work. I felt like humiliated going to the lab because everyone else were so sharp. They were much more senior than me and working in the lab, and I had to seek out for help. And all the experiments I started, they failed. But I really, the persistence I had, I think that really helped me to. Now I laugh at those moments, but
yes.
It was really hard.
We all went through.
Yeah,
if you didn't go through this one, you wouldn't be a good researcher, actually. I remember one time I changed my topic after 2 years because of the failure of.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I tried many times, staying at midnight, and I missed some of the Christmas.
I slept twice in the lab. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was doing a polymerization. I was learning from a postdoc there, and it's a very sensitive process, and it was all failure, and I was just restarting again. Yeah, and you have to watch it closely.
Yeah, but although we have those challenging moments, we have some good moments as well.
Oh, yeah.
So if you pick one or two good memories during your graduate study, what was?
I think the best part of doing graduate studies is the conference part, the traveling.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's I love always the times that we wanted to go to a conference with my teammates. Definitely, it's a travel, it's a trip.
Yes.
You have a chance to visit a new city, a new country, and another aspect of it that was maybe pleasing for me or happy moments is meeting those brilliant minds from different countries around the world. It was really inspiring, like how many smart minds are out there, and it was really nice. I think it was kind of this opportunity for me to have some fun and also create collaborative opportunities was really joyful and rewarding.
I think I echo what you are saying. That is, for the graduate students, attending conferences is something really both fun and important for increasing your networking, learning more and more, and getting to know from people around you. So, attending many conferences, publishing many journal papers, getting a lot of grants, you have a big group. What are the research areas that you are working with nowadays?
Nowadays, again, everything is about materials, but we're now more digging into the different aspects of smart materials I call them smart materials for clearing the way towards sustainable goals. So
that's a good.
Yeah, because I think now already we have received the alarms from these environmental changes we are observing, like in the North Pole, like the climate change. So I think I'm focusing more on creating a nexus between all of these different technologies and industries, from energy, water, food, health. I think all of these are interconnected, and the core are these materials, the smart materials that I call them.
Smart materials. Okay. What is the smart materials?
There are different definitions there, but I will say I consider two different categories. So one of the most famous one is those materials that they are sensitive to different stimuli. That could be temperature, moisture, It could be pressure or mechanical stresses. So they are responsive to these changes, to their environment. And based on these changes, you can leverage some properties from these materials. Or I also consider multifunctional materials as smart materials. What are they? From my perspective, multifunctional materials are, we have one single backbone of a certain material, say a certain polymer or certain ceramic. And we make this one consolidated backbone or matrix multifunctional that has different functionality, multi-purpose. So, for instance, it can do the job of having high electrical conductivity, giving you some, self-cleaning properties, or different aspects according to the application. So I think they're very tunable, and they're also, in my mind, could be sustainable because they can have different purposes at the same time. So you're using less resources and creating less waste.
Okay. So if we want to maybe narrow down the comparison between the smart materials and the traditional materials in terms of the environmental impact and the sustainability. So what is the main differences between smart material and traditional material in terms of the environmental impact and sustainability?
Well, the difference, I think smart materials should have a crucial role to create those sustainable development of technologies. Because, as I said, being responsive to the changes around you, or having the capability of doing different functionality at the same time, leads you to generate less waste and also preserve more resources. And they can have the potential to become biodegradable or recyclable. So as a whole, if I want to summarize them, I think compared to traditional materials, you're using one, you are able, sometimes for these properties, you have to use multiple structures. Sometimes the compatibility problem between these is a huge issue. But removing that compatibility challenge and having everything in one consolidated structure, I think can help us more towards sustainability.
Can you give us some specific examples of application of smart materials helping toward the SDG or Sustainable Development Goals?
Of course, one of the very exciting things, I think one of my students is focused on that, is smart coatings. He's graduating soon in summer, but his project was involved with having multiple properties in one layer of coating. These properties could be like self-healability. So that means if you apply this coating on a surface and a crack happens or damage happens, the material itself can revive its structure. It heals itself. So that crack is removed. This could be based on the moisture in the environment, on the temperature. Or self-cleaning properties. These are, I think all of these are important for different surfaces, for vehicles and transportation, for many industries. Self-cleaning, I think that's really important because it helps to use less amount of water or harsh agents, so less water contamination, and prolong the lifetime of a surface. So it can repel the dust, oil, and water at the same time. And it can also have some decorative aspects. Another student, a PhD student, she's also graduating soon. She found a very nice, sustainable and bio-based materials that can replace these toxic dyes, and they can change colors. They call them structural colors. So they, based on the different angles of the light, you can have a rainbow or a colorful structure. I think these can have, in addition to the decorative purposes, it can have also other
I think this project is more close to your heart because it brings you back to the architecture.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Good point. Good point. I never looked at it from that perspective.
But before we go to that, okay. How we prepare the smart material? Are they existing naturally, or we are fabricating?
There are some materials maybe in the nature that we can get inspired from, that they are sensitive to this stimuli, but for the preparation they could be different. There are different methodologies or strategies based on how to fabricate or what components you use. For instance, one simple example is we know all about polymers. And if we maintain and polymers are made of oligomers, and oligomers from monomers, a little bit back to chemistry.
Yes.
So if we use incorporate some of these monomers in the structure of the polymer, they didn't form these multi-chains, but they can form that. I'm talking about self-healing example. With some temperature change or forces or maybe even moisture that they are exposed to, they can form again those small polymer chains and maybe heal the crack, for instance. So there are different strategies or different, we call them functional groups that we can embed into the structure. So they can provide those multifunctionality. Yeah.
Let's say for the layman person, smart material, not a magic material. So for the smart material, there are always some challenges and limitation. What are the main challenges and limitation for the smart material that is maybe, I would say, slowing down their application on the industry?
Very good question. Definitely, again, from the perspective of a process engineer, going back to my process engineering field, I think the scalable fabrication, larger scale or larger scale production of these materials, they're not still cost effective, again, because of some special ingredients we use or the new methodology to produce them, but that one is not still at the larger scale fabrication method. So we need to do lots of optimization and to make sure the energy consumed is efficient, no further waste is generated. I think these are the big challenges. Another could be still some of them maybe performance-wise are not super reliable, so still lots of tuning and innovations should be along the way to tackle those. But some of them I know, like some ventures or new startups like already started to do some job and towards commercialization, especially for vehicles and transportation.
Okay, because my background is waste management or sludge management, so was that current emphasize on the climate change, and we always look at the waste reduction and reducing the waste and even increasing the resource recovery efficiency. How do you see the role of smart material on that sector?
Most of these materials, it depends on how you design them, but if from the beginning, and again, lots of them are inspired from the nature, so we can use the biomimic or bio-inspired ingredients. So they potentially possess the biodegradability or recyclability or compostability features, which really help us. Another aspect is because of their some self-tuning or self-healing properties, again, as one of the important features of these materials, or having multiple functionalities. It basically prolongs the lifetime, the usage, the life cycle that these materials can have. So I think these are the important aspects of smart materials in terms of waste management,
waste reduction. So, Dr. Zarrin, how do you envision the future of smart material on helping the SDG? That's what it's like.
Again, I think they play a crucial role in as far as SDGs because we always are seeking for new ways of creating a circular economy, creating how to manage or reuse our waste if it is been generated, and how we can use our resources available to us, for instance, biomass or renewable resources. I think because of the features they can have, they can maybe revolutionize the emerging technologies and be used there. And I believe, because again, all of these technologies stems from their ingredients. So if we can incorporate that, but I think one important thing that I can envision is making sure. I always believe we have to use our existing infrastructure, because rebuilding everything, that would is again a new creation of new problems. So how we can make them compatible even with existing infrastructure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's stay a little bit aside from
research.
the in-depth research and smart material. Look at being a professor. So as a professor, you have what we call it a multi-hats. You are a researcher, you are an instructor, teacher, you are a mentor for your students, you have some admin responsibilities, you do volunteers, and you have a full-time job as a mom. So as a professor, what is the favorite part of being a professor?
Students.
Interacting with students.
Yeah, students, and I love researching students. Like these two are my passions, and I think like having these day-to-day or weekly interactions with them again is always rejuvenating for me. It's inspiring, and seeing how they're growing and how I can impact their future or help them towards their goal is really rewarding for me. So this is a very fulfilling part of the job. Research, definitely, as I said, I love the exploration part, the creation part, maybe as a material architect, as I want to build things and design things. And you also ask about...
no, this is the first thing, the favorite part, which say the interaction with the students.
The interaction, yeah.
After I think the pandemic affected that interaction.
Oh, yes.
So how do you...
Well, we kept contact through Zoom. I think everybody did, like online, which was not the best, but still I had I even had hiring during the Zoom. We just met online, but it was still the part of the new habits for everyone. I kept the interaction through the pandemic, but I didn't, to be honest, didn't like online teaching very much because I lost that engagement with them, although I tried my best to keep it, but it was really a challenging aspect of it, especially for large classes.
I agree with you, but to some extent, there was that new way of teaching. We need ourselves as an instructor to maybe rethink about how our way of teaching, of using that revolution, the technologies.
That's true.
In combination with
I agree.
The other stuff. Okay, there are some boring activities as a professor, or let's say not boring, least favorite part of being a professor. What is the least favorite part or activities of being a professor? That is, if this one can take this off, my life is going to be better.
Unexpected requests?
Oh.
Yes, I think many times I'm a planner. I'm always even planning for the whole month. And if you check my calendar, everyone thinks, how many meetings do you have? I think it's not meetings, it's the things I have to do. I just put it in my calendar so I know how my week looks like. It's going to be dedicated to writing, meeting my students, conferences, whatever. So these are unexpected requests, and sometimes you cannot say no, because it's important, and it's really sometimes detracts me from the focus to research and teaching. But I gradually learned how to manage those. Another thing, I think for everyone, some administrative part of the job. I'm not saying it's bad. I like the leadership part. I love to be involved if I can lead or direct a program or, I don't know, a new initiative, whatever. But for some boring parts of the administrative parts, I think that's for every job. That one is the least.
How about marking the exams?
Oh, yes, you're right. I should add that to my list.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good until the end of the midterm. Then for the final exam, yes, because thanks to the TAs. But for final exam, yes, especially for large classes, it's really challenging.
It takes a lot of time sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. Aside from your professional career or being a professor, you definitely have your personal hobbies and passion. What is the hobbies of Hadis?
If I get the time for it, the hobbies. It's a new hobby that I'm trying to expand it, and that's exploring the nature with my husband through finding new trails in Ontario and just having one day. There are a lot, but thankfully.
Yes.
And so my husband and I were trying to dedicate just one day, if the weather allows, like maybe in a month or twice a month, and go and do some adventure together. Another hobby, which is my everyday hobby, is reliving my childhood with my two kids.
Oh, okay.
I love the kids' activities. It's really entertaining for me too. And I think it gives me a good opportunity to teach them a sustainable lifestyle. I think because now that's a huge focus in schools too. I'm learning now things from my 6-year-old daughter about the earth, the caring about planets, the garbaging and everything. I say, okay, that's great. They're into it. So that's also a good opportunity to change my bad habits of waste management or resource, using the resources. I love also swimming, doing Pilates if the time allows. Yeah, these are just the hobbies I have. And cooking with my kids.
This is the
the delicious part. Yeah.
So going to that, you love the activities with the kids. Maybe we can discuss after this interview having a partnership, because we do a lot of outreach activities where we visit a school for the elementary school, grade 3, grade 4, and we do some workshop with them. So you might enjoy that. We can maybe do some collaboration between the two teams. So we have this one.
That would be sweet, yeah.
Yeah, and for the tailor, I had one day before the pandemic, when I was a little bit active, a challenge called 30 by 30. So I visit 30 parks in 30 days. So every day I just started, okay, I'm going to go and visit that. Maybe you can do it, but in a different way with your husband. You go and explore the different tailors in Ontario. Just have a target and make it.
That I should learn it from you.
Yeah, you can make something like that. So do you read about history, or just science chemist?
From social media.
From social media.
I know, to be honest, I loved it, but I'm just following some channels about history that that's very shallow. No.
Okay, so if I told you that, okay, you have that time machine and you can go to any era in the back or any time, and you select any person, any historical figure that you want to talk with, you want to have a meal with, and maybe ask her or him a question. Do you have someone in your mind that you would, I would like to sit with that person?
Yes, but I have to learn French first.
That's okay. We can get us a translator and
I love to meet Marie Curie.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I think she's like a superhero to me. Being the first woman getting Nobel Prize, being the first person having a Nobel Prize twice, and passion she had and the dedication she had to explore in chemistry and physics. And I think, I love to. I really love to see, definitely she was a genius, I think. But aside from that, I think being genius is one aspect, but it's important how much dedication you put into our work. So I think that would be a very nice conversation.
I think we can manage to have a dinner with her, with two Steep Tea, for example, for sure. So what question would you ask her? Because you would not leave that meeting without asking some questions.
Yes, that's true. The question that I would ask from her is, well, I know she didn't know about the harmful impacts of radioactive materials, but even when we do, again, still, I think the mindset was there that you're exploring something new thing. There should be some risks or dangers associated with that. I really love to ask her what made her so ambitious and risk-taking to go and do such a huge exploration. And and that, I think that's one of the big questions I want to ask her, because it needs guts to be so, exploring.
But I think now with the AI and the revolution in artificial intelligence, you can bring any historical person to...
Yes, I've seen that. To be honest, it's a little bit scary for me.
It is.
The old pictures start talking, and I couldn't make the connection yet, but it was interesting, but a little bit scary to me.
I remember you mentioned after you finished your master study and you were seeking a PhD opportunity in Canada and other countries, you sent many emails and you were looking for the opportunity. So, and this is, by the way, it's a normal practice with most of the students that is looking for an opportunity. But if we talked about Hadis, what are the criteria that you are looking for your students? To give an admission to students, what criteria you are looking for?
Yeah, okay. Well, definitely aside from the academic excellence that you're looking for, that's the first thing you look at, the resume, then their GPAs, their experiences. I really love to see how passionate they are about the certain topic that for which they reach out to me, and how I can help them to ignite that curiosity. Again, learning from my favorite person from undergraduate professor. I really love to see the skills or the potential of having collaborative spirits in my students. Again, the passion for exploration and having the mindset of accepting setbacks and see them as new opportunities for their growth. So, because I always talk about this stuff during my interviews, and I love to see how their mindset about that for the students, future students.
But I think those criteria may be a little bit varied between if you are admitting a master's student or a PhD student or a postdoc. So if we take, let's say, the main two categories for a PhD and postdoc, because masters, I think it's mainly the GPA and some of the past. For the PhD and the postdoc, what are the important or the number one criteria? Is it the passion for both of them, or it's different from a PhD or a postdoc?
It's different. One of the first questions I asked in my interviews, the very first question, why do you want to pursue PhD? Like, what do you want to reach? You want to just be called Dr. X, or you really have other goals? You're seeing a big picture. So for PhDs, it's, again, depending on their goals, I always seek for the skill sets they have or they can have, and how I can prepare them for it. But it's important for me, again, to for PhD students that had, at least during master's studies, some experience and exposure to research, so they know the basics of research methodologies and reading literature, a little bit writing skills, maybe not to the perfect level, but for postdoc, it's a different story. I'm seeking for a leader. I want a postdoc to be a leader. I want to be a substitute for the supervisor, because I see postdocs, most of the postdocs, that perhaps they're seeking for faculty jobs. So it's a great opportunity for them to explore this faculty role. So I provide them the opportunity to teach, to mentor students, and the skill sets I'm looking for them is great skills of creating a project, managing people, writing skills, securing grants, and so on. Yeah.
We receive that questions, all of us, all the time. Academia or industry? Because sometimes the PhD students...
I was also in that dilemma of, I, after my PhD, I was not sure.
So what would you tell your student if he or she comes to you and said, okay, I don't know which path should I pursue after my graduation?
Again, I think this is back to... I can again refer to my answer to the previous question, where the very first question I asked them is, what do you want to do? You want to go and be hired somewhere as an employee and work as a research scientist, research engineer, or policymaker, whatever? Or no, you want to just become a faculty member, a professor? Like, what path do you want to take? And I always try to prepare them for that path. For those who want to pursue industry, some of them, they know, we don't know yet. And some will say, oh, no, I don't want to become a professor. They're very determined and know what they want to do.
About those who don't know.
Oh, don't know. I expose them to opportunities to explore both options. So those are, for instance, I let them to help me to co-write a grant proposal to see if they like grant. They love to brainstorm, come up with new ideas. Expose them also to some features of a professor, like writing skills, project management, or project initiations, brainstorming, coming up with research ideas. And even mentorship, like I expose them to mentor undergraduate students or junior graduate students that come into the lab. Also, I let them to, if they're interested, I always encourage them to take internships, like secure internships, go to another lab or to an institute, or having collaboration with industry, going to conferences, expand their network. So normally through these ways, from these past 7 years experience, I've noticed they kind of come up with an idea of what they're looking for. However, you know how the market is. And I always tell them at the end, you had the exposure to gain the required skill sets for both sides.
Yes.
But now, at the time of the application, first of all, start 1 year before graduation, hunting for a job, and do not put your eggs, all of your eggs in one basket. So prioritize, and then
that's a good strategy. Some students comes at the beginning and said, okay, their mindset there. So, okay, I want to be in industry. And the other one, I want to be in academia. So what would you advise the students who is really keen to go to the industry? He has only one path. Hi, Dr. Zarrin. I want to be in the industry after I got my PhD. What would you advise them to do during their PhD, or what skills they need to focus on during their PhD period?
Aside from the technical skills required, depending on the industry they want to end up at, I highly suggest to expand their soft skills, their interpersonal skills. I think that's very important. And even Sometimes I tell them, go see for your target jobs or profession in the future. What are the requirements in the job postings? And if you lack some of them, you can get certificates or go to the workshops. And I highly suggest to them take, at least do some collaborative project with an industry. Go to workshops and conference, expand their network, and take an internship. I think that's really helpful, at least from my experience with some previous students.
What about the other person who's like, my mom and my dad were professors and I want to be a professor. I don't see any other.
Lots of publications, especially in high impact factor journals, mentorship opportunities or supervision opportunities, like grant writing opportunities for them, getting prestigious scholarships. I highly suggest that, and applying for any awards that pops up, like internal, external. I also highly encourage them to basically, if it's a little bit challenging, but if an opportunity arises, have some teaching opportunities. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so for a new student, either master, PhD, just fresh students came to your office, first meeting after you admitting them, and just want to give a general advice. What would you give them in the first meeting for the new graduate students?
I would tell them, first of all, how choose a topic. Again, I always provide them with a set or series of topics that are available. We already had some discussion during interviews, so on, but sometimes they still do not know what they want to do. And I tell them, go and explore and come back to me in few weeks and tell me what keeps you passionate and ignites your curiosity to explore, to go and find the solution for that, to become a problem solver. And what you think you can do, although you will face some setbacks and challenges along the way, it does not make you disappointed.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's very important, because this is especially for PhDs, this is a 4-year, 5-year commitment. It's very important what you do is what you believe in and you want to do in the future. Yes. Perseverance, I think that's another important thing which is associated with what I tell them. That's the very first thing. My advice to myself.
So they follow your advice and they are close to their graduation. Few months left for their graduation and they start to look for a job. And unfortunately, it works with many, but does not work with most of them at the beginning. And they came to your office. Okay, Dr. Zarrin, I'm trying to get a job, but I couldn't. So could you give me an advice or a hint that can help me to get a job?
Normally, yeah, that happens a lot. So, so I would always recommend them exactly how open they are to travel, to relocate, to or what type of professions that they think they want to end up with. Like what are they targeting? And the very first help for me is if I have a connection, I will introduce them to do some networking, seek guidance, because that's a network creation for them, and also maybe an opportunity rises in that corporate, maybe they could be a good candidate. And second, I reach out even to my colleagues if they have connections regarding those target areas or professions that can help them out. And I always ask them again, what skill sets do you think you lack? Because sometimes they apply and they get lots of rejections.
Yes.
And I will ask them, what do you think you lack in your resume that you need to improve? So maybe you can go to a career center, seek for help. Is it the interview skills you have to improve, or you have to do an extra job to show you have that relevant experience? I try my best based on my resources and capability to help them out. But I wish I could hire everyone.
Yeah, we all hope that.
I was rich enough to, yeah, because they're all capable, and yeah, it's a pity sometimes to see it gets a long time for them to, takes a long time, to land a job.
If Hadis is sitting at the end of the day with a nice weather, with a cup of steep tea, with our own recipes, and you are thinking about your career, and currently you are a professor, and we know now that you would like to be an architect, but aside from an architect or a professor, what other career would Hadis think about it can match with her?
Oh, I was going to say architect now.
That's why we got that out.
Yes, I shouldn't have said that.
That's okay, just think about
a job that I want
a
to
career.
do.
Not necessarily, because a job is different from than a career. Like something that's have a passion about.
And it should not be relevant to education.
It can be, but not a professor.
School teacher?
Oh, yeah, that's actually a good choice, because you mentioned that you like to work with the kids, and I think that
I know it's challenging, because sometimes I tell my daughter is in first grade. I tell to her teacher, you have the most challenging and hard job interacting with these 67-year-old kids. I know it's hard, but I think it's sweet, and again, it's sweet to see how they develop. Yeah.
Amazing. Now we came to the last question. This is your camera. So if you look at your camera and you want to give an advice to, let's say, the young generation, or let's say the young engineers, what do you want to tell them?
Okay. Well, I always tell my students, and I would love to tell the young generations and the new mind, to keep in mind 3 P's: perseverance, passion, and purpose. I think these are the key features. If you keep in mind, helps you to re-strategize, to stay hopeful and purposeful towards whatever you're looking for. And never underestimate the power of mentorship, seeking for help, and collaboration. I think you have lots of resources available to you that you cannot believe in, but they are available to you. So don't be shy, seek for help and mentorship, and never lose your curiosity. So the future is yours, you're the future, so you're the one that is going to shape your planet, and also bringing changes to this world.
This is a great advice, Hadis. It was really a pleasure talking with you today. And,
me too, Elsayed.
Thank you so much
for the invite, and I really enjoyed. That was very nice conversation.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. So this is the end of our interesting and excited episode for today. So looking forward to see you on another episode. So stay tuned and don't miss a single episode of our podcast, Steep Tea with Elsayed. See you later. Bye.